his aunt dies,
Can't
or
get a
comes
picture.
back.
Yeah,
I'm
And then
videotaping.
he's telling his parents things that,
I met your daddy. And
Yeah.
what do you mean?
I met your daddy. Yeah, what? I met my sister. Like, what do you mean? I mean, things that he had no knowledge of. And
True
so
story.
that I'm looking forward to that movie. But so I thought that maybe just for a little while we could go around and think of maybe some really special moments you had with Drew, or a special occasion, or something that was just a neat, fun. Doesn't have to be the highlight of your life or anything. Just something that you remember right now. Next hour from now might be something different, but right now, what comes to mind? Anything?
There's two things that I think of right off the bat. One of them was when Drew and Jack were really little, is just helping them learn how to swim over in one of those lakes in Conwalk over there
right.
at the beach.
The city
Not
beach.
that I didn't teach them, but they were very capable. We were just playing around and doing other things. But the other thing I noticed that really struck me is Drew impacted so many people in so many ways with no age limits. And the one occasion that I remember, I can't tell you exactly where it was, but I can describe it, and that is he was playing a piano at like a nursing home, and I think it was there just up the road from Fontana.
Mm-hmm.
But how that made such an impact
Inspiration House.
on the people that were there, and they were just so appreciative of him coming there and playing music live. I mean, he was creating it, I guess, spontaneously, or he had practiced it for a little bit of time or something, and he was just really cutting it up on the keys of the piano, and the people were just enjoying that. And that I was watching the people around there and how they were just happy that this young man came and spent some time with them, and he made an impact on a lot of people just by giving of his time and his creative abilities. And that's one thing that I can, of many that I can recall from having known
Thank
that
you.
young man.
Anybody else?
I remember when Tamara let Drew and Jack stay with us for a week. And Katie was 1, and Jack was 2, and Drew was 3.
And I was in California.
Oh, and we had our 2-bedroom house in Mundelein. And Tamara said just bundle them up because it was cold. It was like spring, cooler out, or late fall probably, or yeah.
Probably
And,
spring. Spring. I would have been traveling then.
Early spring. So I would bundle them all up and send Drew and Jack out in our backyard. Thank God was fenced in. And they would just have so much fun. Jack would just follow Drew around and do whatever. And they were just such buddies. But then when I would take them places, and I had these 3 very little ones, and people were like, those are your kids. But they were all blonde, But they just had so much fun. I took them to watch their Uncle John play basketball and just running around and just able to have fun, even at that young of an age, and occupy not only himself, but Jack. And at the time it was wholesome. They didn't burn down the house or anything. But trying to get them to take a nap was another thing, but just quiet time in the back, and they'd be wanting to be crazy and run around. But just the life and energy and the love between Jack and Drew at that time already was very clear.
It goes with the picture, I think, of us through at that young age.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Oh, that was probably then.
Katie, show that picture. Okay.
And Stephen was still coming.
Stephen
Thank God I only had 3 under the age of 3. 3 and under.
Pregnant with another one. Not quite.
A memory that comes immediately to mind when I think of Drew is a gaming memory, believe it or not.
Surprise.
That's unusual.
David had purchased one of the most complex games ever imagined, called War of the Ring, based on the Lord of the Rings experience, and he brought it to Tennessee. He thought it'd be a great bonding experience. And so we divided up the brothers. It was Drew and myself versus and DJ versus Jack, Stephen, and David. And I remember it was one of those games that it takes a couple nights to play. That's how long and complex it is.
And Katie was
I can
sleeping.
testify I was sleeping upstairs and did not get any sleep throughout
Oh,
those
goodness.
couple nights.
So it was very competitive after the first night. Like it could have gone either way. And like David, of course, had learned the volume of rules that are associated with the game, and
Prior to.
and Drew was concerned about David knowing all the rules. Like he wasn't sure if David was, telling all the rules or using the rules to his advantage. So Drew decided that night that he needed to read this volumes of rules that I think Uncle David had spent probably a week learning. And the next night, Drew was calling him on the rules. Like, he's like, are you sure you can do that? I read on this page of the rule book the other night that now you got to do this. And that just shows how competitive Drew was and how much he desired to win. And it was a very fun experience. And
And a quick learner.
And he's a quick learner.
And who won?
I think that was I don't. Yeah, I think we might have been leading at the point, but we had to call it. I don't think the game ended, but I think Drew used some brilliant strategies and really played well, and I was impressed at his competitive abilities.
Vacation ended before the game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's
So I
great.
just admire Drew for his competitive and ability to learn those complex rules. He was gifted.
I think about how sensitive Drew was in his finest self, he was so sensitive to other people around him and their needs. And I remember several times, but the most recent time was when we were together in Florida, and we had gone out and touring different places during the day, and we got home and it was getting kind of twilight, and I knew everybody was tired. We got out of the car and he said, "Now, Grandma, I know you wanted to play some tennis." And the tennis court was right near the villa we were staying in, and he said, "We can still play some, there's enough light and we can get that in." And I would not have pushed for that because I knew everybody was kind of exhausted after the day. And I said, "Drew, no, it's all right. I don't think you really want to. You're just being so kind. Thank you." And he's, No, I know you want to do that, and we didn't get to do it before. So come on, let's go and play tennis. It'll be all right with Grandpa, He'll want to go in there and start cooking our hamburgers, whatever, and I can stay out here and do this." And so we did. And again, all of my grandchildren have far exceeded me, and my children, of course, in their sports skills. But just to want to do that, to be with me, and to and just enjoy that time and do it because he knew that it would be special to me, that really touched my heart. And of course, there were so many times, and if I shared any more, I will be crying. But he was a joy and a delight.
Did he beat you on the tennis court?
He very graciously did not keep score. Very graciously.
I'm going to go back to their younger days, and the thought that came to mind just as we're talking is that we decided that we would go fishing, and that I would take the boys fishing, and I was looking forward to it. But then, as I thought about it, I said, "What kind of a fishing trip, little day outing is this going to be?" Because I think Drew was maybe 6 or 7, and Jack was a little bit younger, of course, and I said, "This could be a nightmare, the hooks and the fingers and the, everything." So I pulled up in front of the house with my boat and trailer, and Tamara comes out with the boys, and they're all set to go, and they're all excited. So we get in the boat and right away I'm sensing that I think this is gonna work out. I think it's gonna go well. And all of a sudden, Drew just kind of wanted to take leadership of the, you know, I'll work the anchor, Grandpa, I'll do this and I'll do that, and you know, all of a sudden he was like, you know, Johnny on the spot. He wanted just to be such a helper and leader in organizing everything and fishing, and then I happened to catch a good sized fish that day, and all I heard about it, Grandpa caught the monster, Grandpa got the big one. And they talked about that for years to come. About Drew would always say, yeah, I remember the big one. But it was just exciting, and also a revelation that Drew could get in there and take charge, and wanted to, you know, to show Grandpa that he was mature enough to bait his own hook and work the anchor and do all that kind of stuff. So it was a special day, and we had a good time, Jack and Drew and Grandpa.
That's great.
That was fishing in Oconomowoc too. Silver Lake, I think we fished that day.
Mm-hmm.
Probably had some chocolate shakes that night.
Right.
One thing that really meant a lot to me was when he actually kind of heard from the family that, oh, Katie has this kind of serious boyfriend, but he's in California, and things like that. So immediately when he heard that, he called me up and was like, Katie, who is this guy? Like, tell me all about him. You know, I need to approve. My only girl cousin, well, in the Midwest.
Right.
But so just how he really cared so much about, you know, who we were with, what we were doing, want to make sure I'd be treated right and everything, just because how all of us are so special to him. So it was really sweet of him. But he approved.
Right. Alex passed.
He
Thanks.
felt a special affection for you.
Mm-hmm.
You two have a special bond.
Yes, he did.
I remember those Christmas productions, and cousin Kyle as baby Jesus at age about 13 or 14.
Yeah.
And crazy stuff we did there.
Every Christmas would be the
It
play
was
pageant,
something,
right?
Yeah, it was something.
Drew and I were usually Mary and Joseph,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Or Jack was baby Jesus for a while.
Kyle was nominated.
Kyle got to be later. But
Mm-hmm.
I think, Stephen, you were a donkey one time, right?
I was always an angel.
Alex, were you ever?
We know that.
Ever played? No.
Yeah, I carried somebody in.
Carrie
It was
Kyle.
Josh or Anna.
Oh.
Yeah, they got in there at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one other special bond with Drew is cooking. He was always enjoying cooking, creating. When they had the little restaurant,
Mm-hmm.
what a
Johnny's.
great idea. We'd come over. Hi, here we are to visit. Aunt Pam, can I get you something? It would be $1 for this or 25.
GGB, how much do I owe you for this now?
But he liked it. He'd have his little recipes that he'd made, and so he and I shared that.
Mm-hmm.
What his latest cooking endeavor. So I was so excited yesterday when I was shopping at Walmart, and I have never seen this
Oh my
before.
goodness.
But
Drew's.
they have Drew's salad dressing and marinades.
Oh my
And so I had to get some, and I was going to share them today in memory of Drew and his creative cooking. And something that Steve and I shared too is cooking, and you shared that love with Drew too. But so there's roasted garlic and peppercorn, and classic Italian, and there's sesame orange, that's the duplicate. I think these are the only three.
Oh, my
Yeah.
goodness.
So, but I thought I could give
Great memories,
give
mementos.
each family
Thank you.
a bottle of Drew's dressing in
Love
honor
it.
of Drew.
That's awesome.
Love that.
Oh, and I also brought, I had a chance to get some pictures. So I have some pictures that I have our time when we were all gaming
Oh, nice.
up in Door County.
Right.
And I have copies to give one to Stephen. And Alex, you're even in the picture, and Katie.
Yeah,
And
we
then
were
I
all-
have one for Mom and
Oh, I love that one, right.
and Tamara and
No, that's a great one.
I think when he graduated.
Mm-hmm.
And then this one's for Dad.
Mm-hmm.
Dad and Drew with the big lightsaber. And I have
Oh, my yellow jacket.
Jamie and Drew and Jack. The three of them.
Oh, that's a great one
This
too.
one's for Jamie. And yeah. You don't remember that picture?
Maybe this one's for you.
And then I just have a random one of the brothers.
Oh, I
to
love
give
that one.
to-
Jack.
Give to Uncle Dan.
Oh, yes.
And
Oh,
this is for
beautiful.
Katie and Alex. And Jamie got his.
Very nice.
You don't have it.
Awesome.
Drew and Jack did some baking up in Door County too, with,
Glenn.
remember that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
I think everybody probably, at one time or another, got into that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That was a special time.
Right.
This for a birthday boy.
I don't remember what we were playing there.
Mm-hmm.
Shadows over Camelot.
That's
Shadows over
That's
Camelot.
for
Game
Uncle
that
Dan.
you shared on, wasn't it?
That's just, well, it was his birthday. last
No,
night.
he
That's-
shared on the rings game or something.
It
see
didn't turn
that
out
one.
very well,
Is
though.
that the Tennessee
different?
meeting?
Mm-hmm.
That's from actually the
Oh,
memorial
nice.
service for Drew,
Oh,
the
very
celebration.
nice. Very nice. That's very
Yeah.
special.
Right, right.
So-
That's awesome.
Everybody's
What you doing in the video?
Mm-hmm.
Take this dressing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I have just a short excerpt from the Psalm to read,
Mm.
and
I'll just share a memory too for anyone else who.
Can I hold the camera? And you?
Sure, Dan. You just kind of turn it there.
I should
and
go
then
next
see
time,
the-
so you go last.
oh,
Okay.
sure.
So I'd like
Okay.
to share a memory of Drew when Tamara and I first met and we lived on Lake Drive. Drew was very welcoming and made sure people felt comfortable. And I was so impressed. It was soon after that he had the double cheesecakes for Jack's birthday in the refrigerator that he had made. And,
That's our first date.
yeah, that was kind of our first date, and I was so impressed that he had that kind of brotherly love, and he took that time and that care to do that personal touch for his brother. So that was a great memory of Drew. And then I think I was really lucky to work with him on one of his first business plans as he was getting out of college, and he was a little optimistic. He wanted it to work really well, and he was doing it for his dad and going to make a presentation on this, on all these assumptions for this software web company, selling advertising to Christian companies. And when we went over it together, I said, Drew, you're showing here that it's about a 600% return on investment. I said, I don't think you need to make it that good. It might be, maybe instead of doing 300,000 after the 50,000 investment in the first year, you make that 150. And he took a minute and he really believed in his numbers. He said, well, you're right. You know what? It's still really positive. And that was fun to be able to share that time with him and review that stuff and work with him on it.
Awesome.
Great.
Awesome.
Tamara?
Anybody else want to go before Tammy?
No.
Okay, me.
All right,
Oh,
Alex.
Steven didn't go either.
Oh,
Yeah, I have one.
I can't really show into the sun.
right. That's fine. Yeah.
I have one memory that
Here,
really,
That's fine.
Tamara, I could do it.
From the
for
side.
some reason, always sticks out to me.
Okay.
Is when we were at that retreat place. Was it Stevenson Point or
Yes, it was.
was, for July 4th? We went
Yes.
out there.
Oh, Conference Point.
Yeah, conference point. Yeah, we were over there. That's the time when Drew wasn't. He was kind of going through a tough time with all of his experiences and stuff, and that's when we literally went out to the car and we sat there. We went out there to charge our phones, first of all. That was like the main reason behind it. We ended up sitting in the car for about like 2.5 hours, and we just talked about like, I shared my journey of my previous life and how the struggles that I went through and really how pointless it all was at the end, and kind of trying to just, shared a lot with him that day, and we ended up talking a lot, and he taught me how to do a double squat. We were walking around, it was starting to get dark and the fireflies were coming out, and we went for a walk, I think looking for Katie and Grandma. You guys went for a walk in the woods or something, or around the campus. But yeah, we ended up killing about, I would say, at least 100 fireflies. And he would do like these double swats when they were like, just with 2 hands, he would get them at once. So. He taught me how to do that.
Because they don't have those in California.
But they do it just in the mountains, not where I was from. So yeah, that was pretty fun.
That's fantastic. Oh, and then Stephen, do you want to go before me, or okay?
Oh, mine is just really more like constant memory of every time we were together, things like that, just being able to share in a lot of the commonalities that we had between each other, and be able to share the piano with him, or bake with him, or sing with him, or things like that, just all the stuff that we had in common, which was really fun to do.
And you honored him so beautifully at his actual memorial with
Oh,
all that
yes.
you did. It would not have been what it
Amazing.
was without you, Stephen. That was quite a beautiful tribute.
Right on.
So beautiful.
Has anybody ever waited on Drew at the Cheesecake Factory? Yeah, Stephanie and I had that honor one time, and he was,
Had him wait on you?
yeah, he was working there, and we were like, we're gonna go visit Drew. We'd never been to the Cheesecake Factory. We had no idea if the food was good, but we knew that Drew was working there, so like, let's do this. So we went there, and like, the way he, described this menu, which was probably 15, 20 pages, like, he's like, well, what are you in the mood for? What do you want to eat? And I was like, Stephanie, of course, is not quite into the meat and potatoes like I am, so, but Drew knew like all of the recipe combinations, and like he had memorized like all the ingredients. He's like he made me want to eat like the healthy stuff too, like just the way he was describing it. And it was just like, yeah, it's like it was the perfect waiter that anybody could have, because he just knew all the ingredients and he made it sound so good. Just his ability of salesmanship on the food level was awesome, and I think we spent a lot more money than we originally intended to that day.
I hope
So-
you left a good tip too.
Yeah, we did. We did. But he was an awesome.
You gave your 10%.
Yeah, he was an awesome waiter. He knew all about food, and 2 thumbs up.
Yes, he loved serving people.
Yes, he did.
We did. So, a couple of my memories when you talk about loving people and serving people is when he was a young boy going up the chairlift with him, preparing to board the same lift, and so sweetly he looked at me and says, Mom, I already know everything there is to know about you, so how about if we both ride up on separate chairlifts, and then I'll get to know everything about this person while you get to know. And is that okay? Because he certainly didn't want to hurt my feelings in any way. And I was just thinking it was fantastic that he had that love and energy to purpose meeting other people. So that was one. And his taxi cab driver game is finding out about taxi cab drivers and everything, sitting in the front with him. So what religion are you? And it's so interesting. But as his mom, our last time when he was up in July, and we went sailing together, and then we went the next day to a con walk after his meeting, and he goes, Mom, do you want to walk around the lake? Because I know you love to walk around the lake. And he always knew how much my walks meant to me. I'm like, oh, yes, that is so fantastic. So we walked around the lake, we went to the Kilty, and we stopped and saw Coach Ross Trimble for tennis, and that was such an incredible memory. And then my time in Fort Lauderdale with him, our last moments, our last time together at Christmas. Again, we're on the beach, and he has his book and pulls up his towel next to me, and everyone else is throwing the frisbee, and he said, oh Mom, you're gonna go for a walk? I'll go on a walk with you on the beach. So he just really, again, as Grandma was sharing, he saw what was special and important to you and made it part of his grand purpose for his day, and how beautiful that was. And right now, I just, when I get with people, family, or in groups, I just envision him just wrapping that one arm around me and squeezing tight and looking at me and saying, Mom, are we having fun? Mom! And it's if I'm having a little coffee with one of his friends, or, you know, I'm with family. I mean, I just, with that like sweet smile that he have, you know, and that tight squeeze, and I just try and feel that.
You'd wrap those big arms around you.
Yes, and it's different than the time that he embarrassed me at the movie theater and wrapped an arm around me, or grabbed my hand at Whole Foods, and people would say, oh, is this your boyfriend? No, it's my son. Totally playing me during a 007 movie with his arm around me and the person behind, hey, take that to the, you know, house or something. So silly. But
Great sense of humor.
yes, just
Love to
had
laugh.
so much
Alex does that to me all
fun.
the time.
And being the butt of all this joke, I mean, having, you know, where you just like, now, Mom, you know, I just always, both he and Jack always have me laughing as they repeat
Tam.
things that I say or state it in a different way to make me laugh, because I think they love to watch me laugh. So thank you, everyone, for these moments and sharing, and I'll share this with Jack, too. I can't believe I've become a video person. Drew would always tell Jamie and I, do you have a camera? Now take pictures in Australia, you know. You guys never take pictures. And now, as I'm videotaping and, you know, this, it's just, thank you. So.
Well, we just want to close with Psalm,
Okay.
honoring to God. And, Psalm 139. Would you like me to read it? Or?
Sure. And who's the song?
Psalm
By?
139, David, verse 13 to 16. Mindful of Drew saying this, oh yes, God, you shaped me, first inside, then out. You formed me in my mother's womb. I thank you, high God, you're breathtaking. This is the Message Bible, and it's just the way Drew talked. You're awesome, breathtaking, those kinds of expressions. And Tamara was just talking about the miracle of his birth in her womb and how she knew she was pregnant, but how could she truly be having a baby, and what a miracle that was. And then it goes on to say, body and soul, I am marvelously made. I worship in adoration, what a creation. You know me, God, inside and out. You know every bone in my body. You know exactly how I was made bit by bit, how I was sculpted from nothing into something. Like an open book, you watched me grow from conception to birth. All the stages of my life were spread out before you, the days of my life all prepared before I even lived one day. Your thoughts, how rare, how beautiful. God, I'll never comprehend them. I couldn't even begin to count them, any more than I could count the sand of the sea. Oh, let me rise in the morning and live always with you. Praise Jesus. And that is